you side B so consistently. I want to learn how to do that.
Okay, so basically, like, what you want to know is that, like, on early percents, like, her moves, especially on blue sword, has like a lot of hit stun. So when you want to use it, you want to abuse that as much as you can, because like if you just do like down tilt or up tilt, like it's okay, but you're not gonna be stacking feathers. Mainly, what you want is you want to keep stacking feathers as much as you can, so you can just use it for like. Not just like for zoning purposes, it's just so like you have extra tools for later on in the advance. Because later on, those blue side specials won't be working anymore. More likely, they'll just be used for like the majority of times.
Alright, I'm gonna hop back in here. I'm gonna show down stream. You guys have a great night.
Oh, I rushed down to that.
So I guess a question that should be asked about the side B is when you're in blue, is there any like autopilot go-to best option that covers like 80 to 90% of things? Like, is it always up strike, for example, or should you be throwing out jab instead ever, or what are the thoughts?
Well, like if you have blue side special, I think you could use that to cover a lot of options, because like you could just hold on to it, and then you could use it to get like a tech read.
But I mean, like if you go like, let's say F strike into side special like that, after the side special pops them up, are you better off just going for up tilt every single time, or do you ever want to go for anything else?
More likely you will get it easily off of down tilt, because of how low it how low it's in.
Okay.
You can go for up tilt, but like you gotta react to it. To the DI, and especially because like since it doesn't really go that far as much, like you can do down to up tilt and still get blue shine, but then you gotta react to the DI after the blue shine.
I think another thing too that I noticed, at least when I was trying to pick up Zoo, is that when you get blue up strikes,
whoa,
yeah, that's super moonwalk. Yeah, but when you get blue up strike, sometimes you get the tipper, sometimes you don't. Do you always? Which one would you typically anticipate? Do you go into it thinking you're always going to get tipper and you react to not getting tipper, or do you always react to thinking you're not going to hit tipper, and if you hit someone super high, like that's the surprise? Like, which one is considered to be the average follow-up that you get?
So if I get tippered, I will always go for up special most of the time, because of how high it sends. But like honestly, like you can go for fair or up air too, just because of how big the hitboxes are.
Okay.
But like majority of the time, like it's kind of like it's kind of a quick decision making, because you're not gonna know if you're gonna get up tilt, the tipper up tilt or not. So like it's kind of like how fast you can react to the move.
Okay. That's nice.
God.
Jeez.
Oh my god.
That was nice.
That was so good.
That was crazy.
Oh my god, 100%.
Yo, 100%. I've never seen that, yo. This guy's cheating for sure.
Jesus, this is crazy. This is great. This is like the best experience I can get.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Okay. Different?
That's actually a rare confirm too.
I was gonna say. I feel like nothing.
I just gotta remember.
I feel like stuff doesn't really like work like that until like red side B. It feels like, but that shit just worked.
Yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah,
I'm dead. I don't have a burst. So.
Yeah. So yeah, something like that. For example, did you not use your side special because you're right at the ledge and there's no point in throwing yourself off stage? Like, is that kind of why? Okay.
Yeah, like if they're that close, I could just be using so much sour moves to keep him at that position, because if he's afraid to get sent out, they're always gonna DI in.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Nice.
Oh my god.
Damn, son.
This is so good. Yo, he's just that nice.
Okay.
Oh, that was bad.
So in a situation like that, like, should he have gone for super jump since you were in yellow and then like hoped that you got hit as high as he thought, or like, so he just waited, I guess?
Because
he went for up tilt into up special, and he just was a little bit too low, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh wow, I'm surprised I killed.
He's dead. I think that's like the number one thing to master in this for this character, besides getting like the blue band confirms with side special, is just knowing how high you have to jump to get your up special.
Yeah. I think a lot about this character too is that you gotta abuse the the
It's like I'm busy popping off 1 second.
Yeah, word. Oh. Wow. Looks so good.
Yeah, so right there, like, you hit side special, then you rushed back, and you got up air. Is that because you knew he was going to DI in there, so it's like it's basically guaranteed that you're going to get that up air, or did you have to try and like microspace and react with that up air?
So the reason why I used it there was because like they're always gonna DI in, and the side special always sends up regardless. Even with any other DI, it will have like minuscule like angles to it, but it's easy to catch the upper with it.
Okay.
But like when you land the blue side special, I always have to rush back, and then I just burn a jump to catch it with the.
Okay, so you had like one bit of micro adjustment by using the jump.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty much dead.
Okay, so like for that, for example, right there, you just said, "Yo, who needs to up special when I can just not care?" So
yeah.
Was that obviously it was optimal because it killed, but was it like would you have considered that to be like unnecessary style, or was that like a mix up to up special that just caught someone slipping and you'd actually do that?
Well, instead of up special, you can go for blue side special a lot because you can just rush and because you can just rush and catch up with blue side special instead of having to burn an up special. So you don't have to sell the up special to get a confirm like an easy confirm like that.
Okay.
So like you have to just optimize the combos that you have and just know that so when burning the side special, like you always want to like either rush up or rush back because regardless they're not gonna go anywhere further than from where it's sent.
That's what I learned.
Okay.
I learned doing that in training mode that rushing up really extends my combos and stuff like that.
Yeah, that
when I get out of side special.
I was gonna say that was my literal next question is if you're someone who's trying to learn how to like combo off the top, like almost autopiloting the rush up just to keep yourself up there with them. So if you need to fast fall, you can versus ever like rushing forward and then they get behind you or something like that, and now you have to like burn a jump to try and fix it or something. I guess it depends on the situation, but
yeah,
it can be tough.
Like yeah, it's like because like she has a lot of good like movement, especially because of how floaty she is too. So like you can literally rush, stall it out a bit, and then and catch up the DI.
What would you say is the best way to get in with this character against someone who actually knows what's going on? Because of course he's super fast, and in a lot of cases, if you're fighting someone who's less experienced, you can kind of just run at them and finesse them up close. But if you're fighting someone who's like either has more range or is very, very good with their footsies, would you say that she has a best way of getting in? Like, does she want to jump in? Does she want to try and get close and then like play a really heavy footsies game with down tilts? Like, what does she typically want to do?
Okay, so majority of the time, like she has the speed to like maintain catching down to a bunch of other characters. Like she also has a lot of ways to get into because she has Nair, Fair, and also she can rush down tilt. So like majority of the time, you could just approach with Nair since it's so active and nobody would challenge you, and especially because the second hit is safe regardless for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay.
As move. And yeah, and you can just play the footsie game. And just like with punish down tilt because down tilt sets up for everything, regardless.
Okay, so basically you want to try if you're gonna come in from the air, you want Nair or Fair, right? Or you want down tilt. Of course, you can get in there with whatever you want, as long as you're creative and you can make it work based on the situation. But as a baseline, you want to try use Nair and Fair, and then down tilt.
You kind of want to mix up the both. Like if you know that your opponent is playing aggressive, you could just play the with punishing game and just go for like for with punishing down rush down tilt. And then if you know that they're playing like a passive type gameplay, you can rush in or super jump in there, especially because it's so active. And then even also if you have blue sword with it too, you can use it to mix up your opponent too, because blue sword or blue side special is safe on shield, and you can like do cross ups with it too.
Okay. I was gonna ask too about trying to jump in with back air. Is there ever a reason to jump in with back air instead of fair? Like, does it have different properties or different range that's like actually super useful at the lower bands, or is it just something different to try and keep fair less stale or something?
Back air is very, very active, so you kind of have a good reason to use it, because even if you get the sweet spot, or the sour spot, you'll confirm into something with it, and it's always going to be a strong punish. Like if you confirm to a strong hit bear, it's always going to lead to a fair, and if you can confirm it to a sour, it's going to lead to an up tilt, and you might even kill.
Okay.
Damn.
That's another thing too. I see some players use it sometimes, but like using like the feather system and like having those hits that pull the opponent back in, would you say that that's like a staple in Zoo's combo game that you should be trying to work on, or is it kind of like for not necessarily for show, but it's more like a bonus combo route where if you don't use it that often, it doesn't really matter?
It doesn't really matter. You could play it without having to use it. Most people even will just use blue neutral special majority of the time. Like, so some people even forget that she even has those. Like sometimes I do too. So like it's kind of okay. I've seen people who played it without having to use it, but it's a good tool to have.
Okay.
Because like most of the moves are safe on shield too. So like you can throw it out, they'll shield it, and you can run up and grab. Like,
Okay.
It's 100% free.
Okay. Because, yeah, it's one of those things, too. I'll say a lot of new players 100% get fixated on that feather system, and they try and learn the whole thing before learning the rest of the character, or they learn it, like, alongside the rest of the character's combo game, and I feel like it's very overwhelming for no real reason. Especially if, like, higher-level players, they'll use it because they're experienced, but they didn't, like, start with that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess that was my other last question, too, with regards to down tilt. Is I'll see some Zhurong players use forward tilt or forward strike as a mix-up. Is it really worth using, like, if you use the thing, if you have forward strike, which is 3 hits, or down strike, which is 1 hit, is there really, is there a huge benefit to using down strike, like, because of the single hit gives you, like, a different pop-up angle or something like that, or is it, like, more range on the first hit, so that's why you'd use down strike? Because, at least from what I've seen, I feel like when you use forward strike, you mix up the opponent to believing that, okay, they either have to try and parry this if they want to get a punish if you have spark or something, or they might drop shield early and get hit by the other 1 or 2 hits of F strike.
Yeah, so the thing about F-Tilt is that like you can use it for like to condition the opponent. Most of the time is that you will normally use it to see if what options they will do on shield, because you can do F-Tilt to blue side special to get a cross up and see how they react. But most of the time you would just throw it out because it does have the range. It has more range than down tilt.
Okay.
But most of the time too, it's because like unless they parry the first hit, then it becomes a bad move. But since you have 3 hits and they had to react if you're just gonna use all 3 hits or not, it's a good option to use majority of the time. Just so you can get like different mixes of it.
Okay, cool. Like, you can get punished for it, I guess, eventually, like, if you don't get spark or anything, if you don't hit them.
I feel so slow against you.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
This shit's just happening, bro. Yo.
Like, I feel so slow.
That's how I felt when I was first playing. I felt so clunky, because, like, every time I throw out one thing, I completely missed, and now I'm just in disadvantage for, like, 10 years. That's a huge emphasis, and I'll say, between, like, a newer player and a high-level player, or even if you want to say, like, top player, is that it looks like they're pushing tons of buttons, but they're really not until it's their turn to do something. Like, if you want to play like super heavy footsies and you like kind of expose the fact that you're not going to just fall into shit, then top players will slow right down and also do tons of mix-ups and fake-outs and footsies, and then once they hit you, then they're off to the races. So if it feels like he just gets to throw out moves whenever he wants to, it's because you're making lots of mistakes, right?
Yeah.
So it feels like, oh, he can just throw out attacks and he just works. When I do, I just get hit. It's like, well, he's actually waiting.
Oh, wow.
Nice catch, nice catch.
Thank you.
You did something.
I'm dead, though.
And don't get used to it, kid.
Honestly,
man.
that's what he just used.
Oh, man.